Okay, so when I'm not coding, sometimes I dream of being a novelist. I've started several novels. I've finished zero of them, but maybe someday I'll finish one. But one way of writing novels that I've experimented with is what's called the snowflake method. It's called that because of its fractal nature. You start with a one sentence summary of a story, you expand that to a paragraph, you expand that to several pages, you make a list of characters, you expand them to a bunch of biographies, you make a list of chapters, you expand that to chapter outlines, and then you expand that to a whole book. And so as I started playing with AI and AI agents, one of the things I thought about is, can I use this to write an AI that writes novels using, of course, the snowflake method? And so this is snowmeth, my AI, which does exactly that under my close supervision and guidance. And this is how it works, if it works. This is like the 10th time I've tried to record this video, and the first 9 times all failed pretty terribly. So let's create a story. I'll call it The Coldest Play. The CEO of a hot data and AI startup is secretly having an affair with the chief people officer. This comes to light when they are captured on the kiss cam at a Coldplay concert, a moment that goes viral and brings them to the world's attention. The ensuing scandal and opprobrium, it's a good word, leads them to a downward spiral of madness and terror. Okay, it's my own idea. I thought of it. Nobody else can take it from me. And let us create the story. And so in step 1, it creates a 1-sentence summary of what I told it. A viral kiss cam moment exposes a secret affair, launching them to a public scandal that plunges them into madness and terror. Okay, so that's mostly what I said, but in 1-sentence form. So we'll accept this, and it will make us the flashing lights of the stadium turn their secret into spectacle. Blah, blah. Liam and Chloe. Liam, huh? I don't know how I feel about the name Liam. Are both. I don't like the name Liam. Let's call him Will instead. Will and Liam are both William, but I'd rather do that. Okay, so I said I gave it a change. It took my change. So we'll accept that, and now we'll go to the next stage where it's going to list the main characters. And so obviously Will and Chloe will be 2 of the characters. Will Sterling of a cutting-edge data and AI startup, blah, blah, blah. Chloe Dubois, Marcus Thorne, Sarah Jenkins, investigative journalists, chairman. Okay, those seem like good characters. There are 2 things I want to do. So 1, let's give the startup a buzzy name, one that suggests that it uses AI for everything. So let's do that. Synapse Dynamics. Okay, good. I like that name. And then the second thing I would like to do is let us add Chris Martin from Coldplay as a major character in the story who plays a role that lasts well beyond the fateful concert. So I'll do that. And okay. Okay, good. So now we have Will Sterling, Chloe Dubois, Marcus Thorne, Sarah Jenkins, and Chris Martin from Coldplay. So let's accept that. And now it's going to expand our story structure into several paragraphs, right? And so now the clandestine affair reaches a breaking point at a high-profile Coldplay concert. The immediate aftermath is a maelstrom of public humiliation and intense scrutiny As the scandal deepens, spiral intensifies, corner the world reduced to a terrifying. So blah, blah, blah. All right, that seems good enough. So now let's go. It's going to write a one-page synopsis for each character, usually from each character's perspective. So now we'll know what each of them is thinking. I'll start with a flicker. It's 8 a.m. The risk we've been taking for months. Okay. So intoxicating, so alive. A stolen moment. Okay. This whole fiasco is precisely why I never wanted a startup culture. Too much ego, too little discipline. Okay, perfect. A tip. Suddenly, their secret affair wasn't just a corporate rumor. It was a global spectacle. My job is to find the truth. Energy in the stadium is always incredible. Life is, okay. So these all seem pretty good. So we'll accept them. And now it's going to expand it into multiple pages. And even though I've told it not to, it's going to put page headers on every page because I haven't figured out how to make it not do that. But it'll do like 4 pages. And let's go. Come on, this shouldn't take that long. Okay, good. So the spark and the blaze. Act 1, the unseen undercurrent. Shy snakes that tighten in the burgeoning AI landscape. Very embodiment of Silicon Valley success. His confidant, his strategist, and in the shadowed corners of their personal lives, his lover. Meanwhile, blah, blah, blah. The exciting incident, the Kiss Cam catastrophe, the descent into the maelstrom, Act 2, the unraveling. Okay, so corporate crucible, personal abyss, Act 3, escalation and isolation. Page 4, reckoning in the echoes, the climax and its aftermath, resolution, institutionalized. Okay, good enough. So now we'll do the character charts, and that will take a little while. So while we're doing that, let me take a look at this. So this code is all up on GitHub. This is running locally. I did not deploy it anywhere, in part because I did not want people using up all my AI tokens. Now, I've been running this off of the Gemini 2.5 flashlight that just became generally available, and it's super cheap. I've been using this for like 3 days, and I've spent like a couple bucks on tokens, basically. And so you can clone this and run it yourself. There's Docker instructions, so you don't really have to do anything other than set an API key, or you can run it without Docker if you don't like Docker. I think it's pretty easy, but no one else has tried it, so I don't know. So now we have these detailed character charts about Will Sterling being the charismatic CEO, background, this, whatever. Sarah Jenkins, tenacious and sharp investigative journalist, first catches it through a tip, but it's a viral kiss cam, blah, blah, blah. So these are all pretty good. And all right, so I like all these. So let's accept this, and now it will generate a scene list, and this shouldn't take too long. But it will take the story and break it down into a bunch of scenes with whose perspective each one is, and so on and so forth. So scene 1, introduction to Will Sterling. Scene 2, introduction to Chloe Dubois. Scene 3, introduction to Marcus Thorne. It really likes to do it this way, where it introduces each of the characters. POV omniscient. Okay, that's pretty good. And so it's really laid it out into, here's 25 scenes. This is not 500 pages. I don't know why. It's very bad at estimating pages. But final reflections on Christmas. All right. Good enough. I'll leave this. And now let's go to the scene expansions. And this step takes a very long time. So while that's going, I'll walk you through how I did this. So for the AI agent piece, I used DSPy, which is actually really interesting. I'm kind of obsessed with it a little bit. And so the idea behind DSPy is that you don't spend a lot of time doing prompt engineering. Instead, what you do is you define a signature saying what you want the AI to do. So here, this is the first step. Generate a 1-sentence summary for a novel based on a story idea. And so the input is the story idea, and I think this description is probably even unnecessary. And the output is a sentence. So it goes from story idea to sentence, and then this. So you'll notice there's not a lot of prompt engineering here. And what I did is I just said, I want to use a DSPy chain of thought model with that signature. And what you can do, and what I haven't done, but part of the appeal of DSPy, I don't know how to pronounce it, is that you can collect a bunch of examples of here's a story idea, here's a sentence, and use it to improve this module, either by telling it to few shot it, so it will bake those few shot examples into the prompts, or there's even some where it'll do some optimization by sending things out and judging them and coming back. And so that's a lot of the promise of why you would do something like this. And now I haven't done any of that. For me, the promise is almost the exact opposite, that I can do this without putting any thought into the prompt at all. And so basically say, you know what, I want an AI model to turn a story idea into a sentence. I'm going to write this. Now, Cloud Code wrote this, but in general, I'm going to write this, and then I'm not going to worry about it until I have to worry about it. So that part is actually really nice for prototyping too. The one, and we haven't seen this yet, but the last step is where it writes the chapters. And there, Cloud Code actually wrote a very substantial prompt that I should probably spend time on improving, because I haven't. I've just kind of let it go and argued with Cloud Code about it somewhat. But this is a little bit contrary to the spirit of DSPy as I understand it, that you shouldn't be doing this, but I did it anyway. And so that is, and so the other thing you can see is that the way I've done this step by step is that every step sort of gets the story context, like, what's happening, as well as, what is the scene expansion, what chapter are we written, here's a summary of the previous chapters for continuity, and here is the writing style, here's a sample of the previous chapter, and then I'm going to output the novel prose. So there's a lot of things in here that are maybe a little bit clunkier than they need to be, but it works. And then the front end is just a pretty standard React app. And of course, I don't know React, so that was mostly written by, again, Cloud Code. So now we have these detailed scene expansions. So chapter 1, the apex and the abyss, it's got a setting in the headquarters, a scene goal, a character motivation, obstacles, conflict type, key story beats, outcome, and so on and so forth. And if I want to, I can try and improve these scenes. The ascendancy of thorn. So here we go. The lingering echoes. Okay, so I'm not going to mess with these. I'll just take them and go. And so now we're at step 10, write the novel. And so let's say write from a first person point of view, except for the omniscient POV chapters. Obviously, use modern, high-tech, dramatic language with crisp dialogue. Let's see, with lots of crisp dialogue. Okay, so that will be my instructions, and this will get applied to all the chapters. And so now let me try to generate the first chapter. And so we'll see if this works. It doesn't always work. But I tried to introduce like a nice typewriting animation and whatnot. And I actually introduced the stop button because it was causing me so much problems. So let me try it again and see if it works. The city skyline was a brutalist masterpiece painted in the dying light of day, a vast jagged canvas of stone that clawed its way. Sterling, good to connect, I projected, my voice smooth, resonant, honed by countless adventures. Seraph, cognitive engines on track, the market response. The talent acquisition pipeline, Sterling, how are you managing your human capital in this hyper-competitive landscape? CPO, Chloe Dubois is exceptional, I replied, my voice carrying carefully. She understands that people are motivation. The whisper of hydraulics, and there she was, Chloe Dubois, the very embodiment of controlled elegance. Her tailored charcoal suit was precisely cut, her dark hair pulled back. I met her gaze, a subtle smile. Robust, I echoed. Chloe, your strategies are always ahead of the curve. My eyes lingered on her for a moment longer than professionally appropriate. silent acknowledgement of the risk, the thrill she offered to feign almost. Let's try to be frightened. This was abruptly uttered. This time it was a business notification of market. Call with Davies concluded the perfunctory handshake over the video link, the sterile formality of the exchange doing little to soothe the growing unease within me. As image dissolved, I leaned back. Plush leather, doing little. I don't like the repeating of doing little. Game was on and the stakes were higher than ever. Okay. So now we can go on to the next chapter. And hopefully this one will work. I think it will. So look, I won't claim that this is great writing because it's not great writing. But at the same time, you can see that I myself put very little work. Well, I put some work into building this thing, but I put very little work into writing. I stirred it a little bit, and so were I unscrupulous, I could maybe hook this up to an EPUB generator and start uploading them to Amazon.com. But I'm not going to do that, and probably you shouldn't do that either. David Chen, the junior analyst of marketing. Let's move on. But anyway, so we can go through. I'm not going to, so we'd be here for a while. Uh-oh. What does unguendo mean? I don't want to know, do I? All right. Oh, interesting. Because of the all right, this is an interesting failure mode that I had not anticipated. And because of my stupid typewriter auto scroll, I can't actually click the stop button, which is amazing. But what I think I can do is no, I don't think I can do that either. Let me just try generating it again. That was an interesting. All right. Well, it's clear there's a pretty good. I don't want to say it's a bug per se, but I probably need to. It's almost like it's a bug in the model, but I probably need to do something to make it easier to recover from that, because it wasn't that easy to recover from that. All right, well, good enough. Anyway, you can see how it works, and I don't know what unguendo means, but see, this time it actually generated a relatively short chapter. All right, so, we've written a couple thousand words. That's faster than I could write a couple thousand words, obviously. And yeah, keep working, keep chugging.